I think he's doing both. No source selected. We'll see about that. Right. Okay. There we go. Welcome back, everyone, to the Coding Fanatic YouTube channel. I'm your host, Richard, and here at Coding Fanatic. If that sounds like content, you're no. Here at this channel, I used to teach Android developers how to grow quickly by focusing on your projects, learning to network with other people, and building new skills. These are the pillars that I focused on to grow as an Android developer, and that's what I pushed for other folks to do as well. If that sounds like content that you're interested in, feel free to browse the channel, the playlists, and everything like that. I've got plenty of it there. You can also join the mailing list at codingfanatic.com. So this is going to be my last Android development live stream, and I wanted to make this one a very special one. The reason why I'm making this the last one is that I am no longer pursuing a career in Android development as of now. I spent a great deal of time the last few years dabbling and learning about how to set up projects and the different parts of building an Android app. I went from a 4 GB POS laptop to then building a server that I can remote into to build my Android apps, and then I got a new laptop, and I got a second new laptop, and with each new project I worked on and each new upgrade, I learned a little bit more about the Android OS and how to build software and build apps. I figured that I wanted to move into a more professional setting outside of doing it at Coding Fanatic. So I started applying. I started reaching out to different companies over the years and trying to get my foot in the door. And I found that it was a bit more complicated than I thought it would be. See, my understanding based on the research I did getting into this field was that if you have a track record of progress with learning Android development or learning software development, and you're committed to your projects and you keep working on it and you just keep on learning, then the companies that value the self-starters and the people who want to learn will be eager to bring you on board to their team. But that just wasn't the case for me. I applied to many a position, I applied at many a company, and I, to this day, still have not moved into Android development in a professional environment. Now, I'm not saying this to try and discourage anyone, but I just want to let you guys know about my experience and what you can expect going into it. So the first thing is that not hang on, let me check my levels real quick. Give me 1 second. Ha, immaculate as always. All right. So the first thing is that not all companies are view Android development the same, right? So each company is going to have different expectations based on the needs of their team. So one thing I would say is whenever you're interviewing, make sure that you ask about what the needs are for the team, just to get an understanding of what the company, where they're at, and what they're looking for. I have heard, based on what they tell you, you can gauge where they're at in terms of their onboarding. So, or how, where, what you're onboarding and what the work will be like. So for instance, let's say you interview with a team and they say that they spend anywhere from 2 to 3 months at a time working on projects for different clients, and a lot of their work involves refactoring code, updating legacy code, translating things from Java to Kotlin, and other projects might include taking a cross-platform app and making it native only, or vice versa. You know, based on the type of work and the framework and the languages they use, you can get an idea of what your work will be like. So let's say a company tells you that, you know, if you ask like what's a regular day like for a developer, or what needs, what are the needs of your team right now and what you're looking for in this role, and they give you something like, well, we take legacy code and we fix it, and we also are building this new project, and we're also doing this other thing, and we're also we're using Kotlin to build a front end for this, and we're also using Xamarin to build a front end for this other thing, but we're using Xamarin because this app is going to be cross-platform, this other app is going to be native, and we're also taking legacy code and transforming it, and so old Java stuff, and translating it into Kotlin. But it really all depends on the needs of the client. It's not, if the nature of the work doesn't sound very consistent, right? So you can't expect that your work will be consistent either. So if you want to be in one of those types of environments where it's just whatever the next thing is, you know, you just jump on it, you know, that's good for you. Startups tend to go in this direction, not so much in terms of the technology I described, but just the constant changes in the flow of the work. So sometimes you might have things might be super fast paced. Sometimes something might break. You have to be all hands to try to fix it. Other times you are taking it easy. You have time to work on smaller features that you want to see in the app. You know, whatever it is, you know, startups tend to be a bit more, I guess, what's the word? I can't think of the word for it, but it's things are not always consistent. Now, if that's an environment that sounds good to you, then that's fine. But for someone who's newer to software development in general, they might find it a bit overwhelming. Now, let's say you talk to a team and they tell you, well, we're pretty much building out or expanding our team right now. We already have a flagship product and we're working on some new features, and we want to bring in some new, younger developers and get some new blood in here so we can, you know, help you guys grow, and then you guys can grow with the company. We just have like a few new things we want to add on, but more than anything, we just need new developers to help maintain the product that we have already established. Now, if you're new, that might be good. If you're a bit more seasoned, it might not be so great. You might be looking for something that's a bit more challenging, so this environment might not be ideal for you. But for the newer people who don't have any idea about anything, this could be good because it gives you a solid foothold, and you get that enterprise or corporate experience, or I don't want to say corporate because each company will be different, but you get professional experience. It's consistent, it's reliable, and it's going to be mostly the same from day to day. So that'll give you an idea of what the industry's like. These are the kinds of questions that you guys should ask when you go into interviews, because you want to know what you're getting into when you go into the company. Just because you passed the interview, you passed all the phases, you don't want to get there in day one, or you're putting out fires and it's just like mayhem and pandemonium. You also don't want to look, you also don't want to end up in a slow paced environment where you're not getting enough work and things are just not challenging you enough and you feel like you're kind of stuck and there's not much room to move. So definitely asking about the needs of the team will help you to kind of ascertain what you can expect from the environment when you're there. All right, so another thing that I came across in my own work was, or in applying things like that, there aren't that many jobs for Android development outside of backend and senior app development. A lot of the roles that I came across were only those two, and more so senior roles. So I've worked with recruiters. I've done my own homework. I've done my Googles. I worked on websites like Indeed, Dice, RemoteOK, Remote.co, ZipRecruiter. I almost said Dice a second time. I looked at myriad of websites, and the majority of these Android jobs that companies post are senior Android developer positions. Now, Richard, are you telling us that we should be afraid, that we should be scared and run for the hills? No, far from it. In fact, I would say go for those senior jobs. A lot of people will try to tell you to gauge where you're at, things like that. Man, go for those senior jobs. Go for it, because you're gonna learn a lot about the industry. You're gonna learn a lot about what companies are. What you get to learn about the industry and the tech stack that companies use, so you have an idea of what it'll be like when you get further along in your career. But more than anything, you never know. The company might say, "Hey, you don't have the experience we're looking for, but we do have a junior role that's opening up, or we're opening up our team in a couple months, and we'd love to have you on board." So things like that, it can still work out. It just might not work the way that you expect it, where, like the typical, I applied and I got hired and now I'm working there. It doesn't always go that way. But yeah, definitely going for senior roles. I would highly suggest it, but just know that a lot of Android developer jobs, at least right now or in the last few months, I'd say the last 3 to 7 months, say 6. The last 6 months it's been primarily just senior roles and backend developer roles. So that's not to discourage anyone. You can still do it, but just know that is what's out there. Now, as to why there are specifically only senior roles, I have an idea on that, and that's based on my own experience working in enterprise environments. So if I wanted to, let's look at an example of you. Companies typically will only hire for junior roles if they can bring someone in that's already in the company. Companies will typically only outsource for the higher ranking senior roles because it's a more complex, there's more complexity, and if you don't already have someone in the house who can do it, it's easier to just find someone who already knows and bring them in. As for junior roles, because of the lower level complexity, you don't need to look outside the company because it's something that anyone can be trained to do. Let's look at, even something as simple as fixing, let's say your toilet, not your toilet. Let's say you want to make an addition to your house. Your house is already built. You got your bedrooms, you got the bathrooms, living room, patio, all that stuff, right? But let's say you wanted to add, I don't know, a garden in the backyard. But you don't have gardening experience and you don't have landscaping experience. So you would need a landscaper. Now, you could go in the phone book and you can look for landscapers. You can go on Google, you can go on Angie's List. Mouth is a little dry. You can go on Angie's List or any of those other websites where you can look for contractors. Or you can ask your neighbor, your best friend, your brother, your sister, your mom, anyone else who owns a house, "Hey, do you have a landscaper that you recommend? Because I want to set up a garden in the backyard." Same thing with software development. If you need a pro to come in and do some big work, something huge, then you bring in a senior level developer. And rather than, if you don't already have somebody there, then obviously you look outside the company. But let's say you want to do something, let's say you already have landscapers who come by regularly and they're constantly making additions to the house, right? And let's say that the landscapers are like, all right, well, or let's say you want to do a little expansion, to grow out the garden and make it a little nicer, but you're not looking to upheave everything. And you already have, you want it to be done in a certain amount of time. So you need maybe 1 or 2 extra people to help out. Let's say 3 at the most. Well, then if you only need to plant a few flowers or a few shrubs or something like that, you could probably do that yourself, right? Same thing with Android development. If your team is already established, you already have a flagship product, you already have everything set, you have the experts doing what they need to do, and they're getting the support they need, but now you're looking to expand a little bit further, and you want to bring in some people who are less experienced and grow them up, then you can look within your company. You might have someone who works in customer care. You can have somebody who works in quality assurance. You can have another person who works in project management. And maybe they have an interest in moving into development. So you might pick 1 or 2 of those people and transfer them to your development team. Now, rather than giving them having to onboard and do this whole interview process and all these different things, because they already work at your company and if they've already expressed interest, or you've opened up the job and you have takers within the company, then you just select from that group of people. But it's a lot more efficient because they already work at the company, they're already trustworthy, so it's easier to migrate those people to another department versus going out and advertising and doing all this work just to bring in someone who is likely not going to make too large of an impact on the product, because again, this is a junior level position for someone who has very little experience. When I say junior, I'm talking about people who have less than 2 years. That means even 0. People who graduate high school or have even finished college with a bachelor's, and you don't know anything about Android development. You've never done it. You've never installed Android Studio. You've never installed Android SDK. You've never even set up a virtual device. These are the people who I would consider at the junior level. And a lot of companies typically aren't going to look for people like that outside the company, because you can just hire from within. So now, granted, there are junior roles that get posted. I've seen 1 or 2 in my time, but the majority of Android jobs that I've seen posted online are typically for seniors and backend developers. You can still make your way, but it makes more sense for you to shoot for the senior level than it does a junior, because there are way more senior jobs than there are junior jobs. So now this takes me to my next point. If you look at the market, you don't even have to take my word for it. You don't have to take my word for it. Let's do this. Let's go on a basic job website like, I don't know, Indeed.com. Why not? And just type in Android developer. Okay. So Spring. Let's see. We've got a couple of Android roles. Here's a senior role. Some of these are, maybe Indeed's not the best because they're showing things like system admins, Macintosh. Don't even think Mac, that's not even relevant to Android applications, but okay. All right, so you can see that there are a lot of Android developer roles here. They don't all say senior, but let's pick this one, like Shaco. Okay, if we look at the required skills, strong knowledge of Android SDK and Android Studio, different versions of Android, familiarity with RESTful APIs to connect Android applications to backend services, strong knowledge of Android UI design principles, patterns, and best practices, and so on. Preferred skills, experience using dependency injection, familiarity with cloud message APIs and push notifications, i.e. Firebase. So, and of course, this one says a relevant certification. Okay, so this is the first time I've seen someone actually request or prefer someone that has a cert for Android development. But these skills alone, these are not new Android developer skills. There's no way someone who just started or has been doing it a year would have, well, if you did it a year, you could definitely get this experience. But for someone who's fairly new, it's way out of your league. This is a senior role. I'm not even gonna look at that one because it specifically says senior. This is a Android Capital One, basic qualifications, bachelor's degree, 2 years professional experience, 1 year experience building applications, and 1 year with Kotlin. All right. If we look at skill logic requirements, bachelor, 6 months experience, alternate occupation, mobile developer, 6 months experience working with Android SDK, Android OS, Android frameworks and libraries. So this one is kind of vague, but if you look at the duties, they mention Android SDK, Java. I don't know why Kotlin isn't here. Let's see, maybe it is here and I just missed it. Okay, so Kotlin isn't mentioned here at all. Okay, but we've got Android SDK, and I should zoom this in. You guys can't even see it. Wow. All right, Android SDK, Android OS, Java, and various Android frameworks, SOAP, WSDL, and REST to originate communication between mobile applications and backend servers and databases. So this, again, if you're very new to Android development, this is not very user-friendly, right? Or this is not friendly for the new folks. And close this out. Not even in Silver Spring, so joke's on you. And Fundrise, Android engineer, Washington, D.C. 2 years experience, Android release considerations, architecture, MVVMs, model, view model, MVI, firm grasp of JSON and REST API data modeling. So again, this is communicating with a backend. And preferred qualifications, experience with Espresso and unit testing, production error reporting. So, all right, that's enough of this. So looking at these, you guys can see that if you're a new Android developer starting out, even though we didn't really look at senior roles, a lot of these requirements are for people who are of higher level. It's rare that you'll find a junior Android developer role. So if you're new to this game, then it's going to be a while before you can actually find a company that's willing to bring you on board. Now, you can also look at some of these examples. You can also look at these and use these as benchmarks and say, okay, I'm going to learn about Sentry and Crashlytics. I'm going to learn about Espresso. I'm going to learn about Mixpanel, or look for commonalities like I said, backend services, REST API calls, using Kotlin. I know that not all these job posts will show it, but I highly suggest you guys pick up Kotlin if you're going to get into Android development. But yeah, Android using Kotlin for the front end, and or you can use Jetpack Compose since that's a newer language and a very popular tool. You can also learn about backend, setting up a backend and making REST and API calls, and also the MVVM model view model architecture. These are things that are going to benefit you greatly in terms of your skill set, and it's pretty common on most of these applications or most of these job posts. The thing is that it's going to be a while before you actually find a company that is likely going to bring you on board. So just be patient and you can get there. But if you're thinking that you can jump into a company as a junior developer, I'm here to tell you that's not the case. Now you could get lucky. You might have different luck than I did. And you might go in and say, all right, well, I'm building my own apps. I'm learning about architecture and I'm learning about how to apply that when I build an application. And a company might see that and take interest in you. But most of the job posts that I've seen online are typically, if they're not senior roles, then the requirements are pretty close to senior development. And now that takes me to my next point. So you want to be an Android developer. So you say, okay, I want to start building my own projects. I'm going to use the app architecture and follow that closely. I'll study app architecture and apply it to my projects. I'm going to learn how to set up a backend. I'm going to learn how to make REST and API calls. And I'm going to do everything that I need to reach the heights of becoming a senior developer, a senior Android developer. Well, then that begs the question. If you decide that on your own, you want to learn the skills and habits and tools that are used by a senior level, top level Android developer, then what is even the point in looking to work as a senior developer at a company when you can start your own company, come up with your own idea, and use these enterprise tools and principles to build your own flagship product. Now, I'm not saying anything about going and being an employee for other people. This isn't one of those live streams where I try to get you guys to say, oh, you know, oh, just go start your own company and be rich on your own. And it's not like that. But I want to emphasize the value in learning new skills, namely those that are used in an enterprise environment, and utilizing them for personal gain. You're not learning app architecture, REST calls, and backend and setting up a backend. You're not learning these things for your help. You're doing it because you want to stand out. You want to get hired. You want these people to take you seriously, right? So you build serious, enterprise-esque level applications. And this way, when people look at your resume and they look at your pedigree, they can say, oh, this person is about it. Okay, yeah, I want to hire you because you really know how to build apps from the ground up. What I'm saying is that with that level of understanding and that much work and effort, that you can also build your own product, start your own company, and do this on your own. If you want to get into this field, then you have to be ready to be the best of the best. If you want to become an Android developer full-time, get hired by a company, and walk in there, other than getting a bachelor's degree, a 4-year degree, then you need to come with some senior level skills. And the best way to do that is to look at these applications, look at these job posts that you see online, pick them apart, look for the commonalities, and use that. Okay, you have Eureka here this is a job that says application engineer. Okay. Requirements. Other than, we're going to ignore bachelor's because most every job post is going to say it. You don't always need a bachelor's to get in. Okay, 3 years experience using JavaScript, fine. But this is just application engineer. We're looking at specifically Android. I'm going to skip this one. That one didn't count. Okay. Required skills and experience in Go and Python. What in the heck? This isn't an Android developer role. Hang on a second. Let's find one that's actually Android. Okay, actually no. I'm not even going to do that. Even if you look at a post like this, they want you to have experience with Go and Python, system level programming, experience with containers, and okay, these things aren't specifically Android, but there are a lot of high level requirements listed here. Juju, Charms, MAAS, or LXC, LXD. Android system level knowledge and experience with Deb and Snap packaging. All of these things, this is not a regular entry level, I've never done this before kind of job post, okay? And even if, let's say we type in junior Android developer, let's do that. Okay. So this one is junior software, it's in junior Java. This is Android, but it doesn't say, oh, it does say junior levels. Okay. Strong software skills, able to create and debug scripts, convey technical topics verbally, familiar with maintainable software processes, source code versioning and unit testing, experience developing in Java and interest in learning about Java bytecode and ARM assembly, experience reverse engineering binaries with Ghidra or IDA Pro. Reverse Enja. Who? Reverse Enja. What? I mean, come on. Does that sound like something for a new person coming in off the street who's or walking out of college or walking out of high school? I mean, if this is a junior developer role, it's supposed to be something that is very accessible to someone who does not have any other prior development experience other than school. Okay. Software engineer junior. Okay. Possess an associate degree coupled with 7 years of relevant experience or a bachelor's degree in computer science, engineering, IT, or related discipline, and 1 year relevant experience. Proficient in Java or C++, source code control in Git, and the rest of it is mostly soft skills. But in terms of the hard skills, I mean, even for preferred qualifications, this is a lot. Certified safe practitioner or equivalent, experience with Docker and Kubernetes, experience with Android SDK, Visual Studio, .NET SDK, OpenGL, FFmpeg, and Spatial Light. Come on, man. Nothing junior about that, because you still have to have something when you come in. So that being said, I mean, I know I'm not going to look at every single job post on here, but I'm just letting you guys know that junior is not, this is not like, say, like help desk, where you don't need any technical experience whatsoever, because the documentation and the processes are already there for you, so you can come in, pick it up, and learn, and then go out and start executing while you're at work. It's not the same thing. For software development, companies aren't looking for somebody who doesn't know anything, at least outward. They're not looking outside of the company for people who don't know anything about, who don't have any experience and don't know that much about Android development. You can find these jobs, but just know that even the junior jobs, some of them will ask you to come with something. And a lot of times, companies will try to stack it up so that, you know, they can do things like this. Now, I'm not here to talk about salary and money or anything like that. I'm just saying, for a job that is estimated to pay this much, they sure do have a lot of minimal qualifications. I'm just saying. So do your homework and see what's up, and you figure out for yourself if this is something that you want to do. So where does that leave Coding Fanatic? You still, is Richard still helping you Android developers grow quickly? No. All that content is on the channel. I have showed you guys my journey along the way. I've made a few tutorials here and there. I've got articles and plenty of information here that you can use to help jumpstart if you want to get into Android development. But more than anything, I would say that the best way to go is to shoot for a senior level skill set. Shoot for that level. See if, and I say senior because it means something different at every company, right? I'm only using that to say, when I say senior, junior, mid, whatever, these are industry terms, but junior is like the entry level when you're first coming in, and senior is someone who has at least a few years of experience and has worked. What's the best way to put this? Okay. If you look at an application in pieces, right? Let's use MVVM for instance. Let's look it up. I misspelled it probably. Okay. I just found this random, or here's from medium.com, right? So here's the MVVM. This is one of the most common application architectures you'll find in Android development, right? You have your model, you have the view model, or you have the view, excuse me, you have the view model, and the model, right? So the model is where all the data is stored. It's your backend. The view model handles the data that it gets from the view and sends to the model, and vice versa. And the view, of course, is the UI that you see in front of you. A junior developer will understand how to set up a view or an interface. A senior developer or a senior level Android developer should know how to do all of this. And then mid-level is somewhere in the middle, where you have some understanding of all of it, but maybe not a complete concrete. You might specialize in this area or this area. But a junior level Android developer should at least know how to set up. At the very least, you should... No, because junior. I would say junior levels, you should, it ranges anywhere from not knowing anything to being able to set up a UI. You should be able to set up a UI, deploy it to a device or to a virtual device, and actually see it and interact with it if you're a junior level Android developer. If you're a senior level, then you should be able to do everything under the sun, right? Or at least understand everything under the sun. Companies typically, if you want to get into this field, then aim to be as good as someone who can understand all of this. Meaning that you should be able to use this MVVM architecture, build an app, and build every piece and understand how everything fits together. Once you get to that level, then you should be able to come into any company. Even if a company wants to say, well, hey, gee, we looked at your experience and it looks like you only really check a couple of the boxes here. You've definitely got the soft skills. You have years of experience, but you don't have it in a professional environment, which you are proficient with Java. So I'll tell you what, I think you'd be great to come in as a junior. Even though you have everything that a senior has, we'll bring you in as a junior because you check enough of the boxes. They might also say, hey, you know what? Forget this job post. You're so great, I want to bring you in as a senior because you seem to understand everything that goes into app architecture and how to build an app. So forget this junior role. I want to bring you in. We're looking to expand our team and have a head of a new team, and I want you to be the head of the new team because you have all of this under your belt. It can happen. But know this, like I said, if you want to get into this game, go for this. Look at MVVM, learn each piece, how to apply it to a project, build 2 or 3 apps, and understand every piece of it and how it all comes together. And then you're straight. After that, you're smooth sailing after that. Now for me, my experience, see, I didn't do that. I came up with ideas for apps. Actually, I didn't even really mean to get into Android development. I studied software development at college, but what got me into Android was fixing an issue with my mother's phone. And when I got into it, I had to research documentation online and try to figure out how I'm gonna get a mobile data tile to appear and toggle mobile data the way it's supposed to. And I had to search through tutorial after tutorial. And in the end, it turns out that because I don't have root access on her phone, I'm not able to actually create a mobile data tile. I could still create the tile, but it won't work unless I root her phone. So I ended up buying her a new phone. Then another project came up where I wanted to build something new, something that displays quotes from celebrities. And then something else came up, and one thing after another. And eventually I said, you know what? Why don't I just become an Android developer? So based on developers I saw online, I did my homework and said, all right, I'm just going to keep building apps. I'm going to keep building apps, come up with ideas, build them out. Come up with a new idea, build it out. Come up with a new idea, build it out. I even came up with a process where you draw out I can show you better than I can tell you. This one. Hang on, I can pull it up. software tips for Android development. Huh, so it's not here. Maybe it's, okay, here we go. Nope, this isn't either. These are Play Store requirements. But even to show you how far I went with it, I mean, I even, through my experience of building apps and deploying them over and over and over again, I even learned the main requirements that you need for deploying an app to a Play Store. Now, why this was not documented by Google in the first place, I don't know. But I even figured out, if you want to just get it up on the Play Store, these are the bare minimum things that you need. You're going to need to name the app, come up with a short description, a full description, build an app icon, create a featured graphic, a YouTube demo, a screenshot on a phone, a 10-inch tablet screenshot, and a 7-inch tablet screenshot. And if you upload all of these, then you will be allowed to create a Google Play Store listing. So these are the main requirements. I even came up with this isn't it either. Well, I did it recently. I don't have it readily available because I didn't expect that I was going to discuss this today. But essentially, I came up with a list. Yeah, it's not here. I came up with a list of things that you guys can, a list that you need for building a new app. And I don't think I'm going to find it tonight, but that's okay. Maybe it's here. It's not here. Okay. Anywho, part of the process that I came up with is something is for you to build come up with your functionality, how you want the app to run. Then after that, you build your mockup. After you build the mockup, you do a diagram of the different pieces of the app and how they're going to work. And from there, you come up with each feature that you want and you start building them out one by one. I swear this is on here somewhere. Let me see. That's definitely not it. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. For sure. Come up with your idea. Decide on the workflow of the app. Build out your mockup. Note the UI elements. Look through the Android Studio palettes to figure out which ones you'll need. I mean, in this case, we have the Daily Inspiration app, which shows it's just the app bar and a text view. And then you recreate your mockup in Android Studio, which we have here, me building adding a text view, adding in the text, and then you program the interactive elements. So these are the 8 stages, right? I did all of this, and I built app after app after app. I even deployed them to the Play Store. But in the end, I didn't have this. This is the part that you need. I'll even zoom in on it so you guys can really understand. Application architecture is the name of the game. You need to truly understand how this works if you want to get into Android app development or Android development in general. Okay? It doesn't matter how many apps you can build. It does not matter how many apps you can deploy to the Play Store. It does not matter how much code you've written. If you don't have this, you're not saying anything. So this is why my advice, if you want to get into this field, is you have to shoot for that senior level. You can't do it hot and cold. You can't do it halfway. You can't say, I want to try a junior developer role and let's see if I like it. I'll do it for a couple of years, and then if I do like it, I'll move up to mid-level, and if I really like it, I'll move to senior level. But if I don't, then, you know, I guess this career isn't for me. You need to go in 100% with 1,000%. You hear me? 100% with 1,000%. And this is what 1,000% looks like. You need to prep yourself to be a senior level developer going into this field. Even if you might do all this, you might end up with a junior level role, that's fine, because you're still getting something on your resume and you're still way streets ahead in terms of your understanding of how apps work. So you don't have to worry about feeling out of place or any of that imposter syndrome stuff. I've heard of this imposter syndrome thing. People are nervous about starting new jobs because they feel like they're not good enough to do it. But if you come into the job with this, come on, you're golden. So that's my advice on how to get into Android development. And Yeah. But for me, I spent years building apps, planning them, and publishing them to the Play Store. And as I found out through interviewing with multiple companies, it's just not enough. And so it's not enough for you to just have the app experience. You need to also focus on architecture as well. So that being said, I had two options when I came to this realization. I could either get ready to start studying app architecture and reviewing other people's code so I can get better as an Android developer and do this in tandem with working on my own projects, or I could stop where I'm at and look at another career option. And that was the choice that I made, is the latter. I figure that if after building apps for 5 or 6 years, I'm still not senior enough to get a job even as a junior. If I'm still not senior enough to get a junior role after 5 or 6 years, then it's probably best that I look at something else. I know that I could spend time learning these concepts and getting my skills up like I'm teaching everyone else to do, but it's just not for me. I'd rather not. I've spent enough time in this field. I had a blast. I had fun. What you can call fun. You guys, if you've seen the building live streams, I've had times where I bang my head against the wall trying to figure things out. I've had times where I get frustrated. I've had times where my old laptop would conk out on me while I'm trying to do something, and I've had to overcome a series of technological hardware and software barriers just to get to where I'm at today. And it's just not enough to even be considered for a junior level role. So, despite all that, I still had fun with it. I got to build my own projects. I got to figure things out for myself, and I mean, it was a pretty good ride. But I also would like to make more money than I'm making right now, and that's the reason why I even shot for Android development in the first place. But seeing as how this field has not welcomed me with open arms, then I'll just take what I learned and pass it on to everyone else, and I'll leave it to you. So maybe I couldn't get in there, but maybe you can. And who's to say I'm gonna quit forever? I probably am. No, I'm joking. But seriously, like, who's to say that you guys, even though I didn't do it, but you can. Just don't make the same mistakes that I did. For everyone else who's been just building apps and working on projects like I told you to, oops. I'm just following the advice that I was given. But, in all seriousness, you want to get better, look at the seniors, look at the senior roles, the top level, difficult, advanced level roles, and mimic that. And if you do that, then you will be more likely to be considered to get into this field. It's just, it is the way that it is. I personally, upon realizing this, no longer have interest in Android development, because if your experience isn't enough, but your domain knowledge, it's not so much about experience as it is your domain knowledge. And even though they have tiers in terms of the positions, truthfully, that just denotes your salary. It doesn't denote responsibility, because you might come in as a junior and get pulled into some senior stuff, or you might come in and say, well, I have senior level understanding, and get put in as a junior and get paid as a junior, but still have to do some senior level work. I'm not trying to be a nihilist or anything like that, or a pessimist, whatever people would say to that. I'm just telling you, this is the expectations of, this is the industry that you're working in. This is what you're trying to get into. So if you want to make the big bucks doing Android development, man, you better get the big brain before you get into this. You better get on this level. This is what you need to be on. This is not some industry where you can come in and they say, well, all right, you don't seem to, we'll teach you everything. And we'll teach you, but you also can teach yourself. And as you learn and level up, then you can move up. This isn't like Pokemon or Digimon or any of those things. It's only this. It's just understanding the top level, high level stuff. It's only this. Hang on, let me pull one up. Okay, this is what we're talking about. Five plus years of overall development experience, native Android development, building scalable mobile apps, Kotlin and Java, experience with relational databases. Okay, what else we got? Experience with server integration through APIs. Here you go. Released at least one app on the Google Play Store. I mean, I do have 3 of them, but I'm not here to brag. This is not about me. It's about you. You are the Android developer. You are the real Android developer. So here we go. Okay. You have to really grind. You really have to put the work in to become an Android developer. Okay. No one is going. There are some now. There are companies out there who will say, "Hey, we just need some. You know what? We have the bandwidth, and everyone here seems to be comfortable where they are. No one wants to take on this new junior level role. So, all right, we can look out. We can contact some recruiters. We can go on posts on Indeed or something like that and see what we can find and get some folks in here. Am I in the right app? Now I am. And we get some folks in here who are ready to get into the field of Android development. We've got plenty of documentation. We've got plenty of people to help you out, and we will show you the ropes, but you gotta be willing to do some work on your side as well. And if you're a self-starter and you're someone who is into continuous growth and you want to keep on learning and growing, man, we got plenty of opportunities at this company for you. So come on down. We don't care how much experience you have. You got a little bit, cool, unless you have a lot. Then in that case, we might not be able to help you because we're looking for someone who's going to be at a junior level. Start you off with some softball tickets. We're talking renaming variables and changing the color of buttons and adding new buttons. We're nothing too advanced. We're going to start you off easy and get you eased into it. And then in 6 months from now, we can see where you're at and you want to move on up, or if you're showing promise, then within a year, man, you should be the next level. You should be training somebody else in a year from now. But reality check, not every company is going to be like that. Most companies will not. So my advice to you, my parting words to all the Android developers out there, well, first and foremost, thank you for sticking with me throughout the journey and trusting me to guide you with what I've learned, with my research and everything like that. I really do appreciate the support. But I'll preface it with that. But ultimately, you just gotta get good. You have to get good. You have to become high level senior. Shoot for that senior role. Don't go into it and say, I just want to try it out. You want to try it out? Do what I did. You want to try out Android development? Come up with 3 ideas. Learn some architecture, or actually don't even learn architecture. Just come up with some ideas, look up some tutorials on how to build apps and build them out. If you want to try it out, right? Like I said, this isn't like IT where you have roles that you can jump into. That's not how this industry works, unfortunately. Some companies will do it, but most will not. As you can, like I said, come on, junior developers, I mean, they're asking for a lot. But you coming into this industry, you better be ready to play for real. You have to be for real, serious about this. You gotta be ready to shoot for that senior level. You want to just try it out? Download Android. That's the cool thing about Android development. You can just download Android Studio, get the Android SDK, and just try it for yourself. Got an idea? Go into Microsoft Paint. It's free. You can go in Microsoft Paint or GIMP. That's also free. Use that, build out your UI, and you're good to go. Where is it? Did I close it? I closed it, didn't I? Second page. Come on, white shirt. Nah, it's not this one. It's this one. Boom. This is how you want to be a junior. What I would consider a junior. You're brand new. This is it right here. Come with your idea. Come with your workflow. Build your mockup in. You've got GIMP, Microsoft Paint, even Figma lets you get one freebie, or take it to old tech. Y'all ever heard of old tech before? I hope it doesn't reverse it. You can't see it, can you? No, you can't. There we go. Boom. Old tech. Okay. Draw it on a piece of paper and pad. You wanna if you wanna get into it. You got 3 free ways to build mockups: Microsoft Microsoft Paint, GIMP, pen and pad. Okay. Wrong mouse. Go in and note the UI elements. This is the app bar. This is a text view. However you want to do it. Heck, why don't we just say Instagram? Wow, I haven't seen Instagram look like that in ages. Okay. Here's your app bar. Here's the button. Here's an image view. Here's a text view. Here's call this a button. It's a view and it's clickable. Here's an image view right here. Here are 3 buttons. Here's another button and a text view. Here are buttons at the bottom. Here's a drawer that has a button that has buttons on it. Okay. Buttons, image views in a grid layout, and it uses the recycler view so you can keep on scrolling. Right? You do that with your diagram. Same thing that you see, right? Same thing I have right here. You take your UI, you do the same thing. Break it down exactly the same. Check Android Studio palettes, or just look for them in Android Studio, or just look for the names of each thing. Right? Image view. Grid layout. All wrapped in a recycler view. This is a search bar. This is a button. This is the drawer right here. Button, 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 image view, text view, button, 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 app bar, all of that stuff, right? And you figure out how you figure out what each of these things are and how to implement them. After that, you recreate your mockup and then you program the interactive elements. You put on-click listener on these guys. You put whatever the double-click on-click listener is here, so that if you press the heart or you double-click this, you get a like on the video, okay? Or on the image, excuse me. Add activities for each of these so that when you press on click, it opens that new activity. This will take you to the search screen. This will take you to posting an image. This will take you to a list of your notifications. This will take you to your profile. Clicking on a picture will also open a new activity that takes you to a base layout of the image view with the username and all this good stuff, okay? And that's it. You want to be a junior developer? Do it like that. If you build out your app, if you like it, you like the process, and it's fun for you, or you enjoy it, or anything like that. If this speaks to you and you want to keep going, all right. Now you take it to the next level. Learn your app architecture. Now take this and apply it right here. Apply it right here. And make this function the same way that you would want an app to actually function. Set up your back end. Set up your services, your REST calls, all that good stuff. Then do it again with a new project. Then do it again with another project. And then for fun, do it with one more. And once you put this in there, you're good as gold. I've spent so much time on this already that I don't want to do it. But for you out there who want to become an Android developer, I've given you all the keys that you need. They're all right here on this channel. There are many other free resources. I've even pointed out other people's channels on this channel. Other people's websites and blogs right here on this website and blog. I'll give you guys everything that you need to go out there and get started. So for all my Android developers out there, best of luck to you. But for me, this industry just ain't hitting. So am I gonna keep on doing Android videos? I'm not, but I don't know what's going to come next from here. I don't know. I know what I want to do career-wise, and that's, if you can't already tell, I'm getting back into IT again. I had already, in tandem with the amount of time I spent doing software development over the last few years, I've still kept my IT game up pretty nice. And I mean, I've stayed on it. You see the lights, you see the mic, you see the, well, you can hear the keyboard. You know, I've been the system admin at Coding Fanatic on the side, but I don't really talk about that because my game was to help Android developers. So my goal from here on out is to get back into IT, starting with system administration, and look into some more certs and see where we go from there. But for all my Android developers out there, I wish you all the best of luck. You can do it. Don't give up. Keep working on it. And remember, you want to be the best. You want to beat the rest. You got to be the best. So, oh, it says end notifications. Send notifications. You want to beat the rest. You got to be the best. The only way to do that, man, shoot for those just look up senior developer roles and shoot for those skills. If you're new, download the Android APK and follow this. Come with an idea, workflow, mockup, UI elements, look up how to implement each one, recreate your mockup, and then program how you want it to work. You like that? That's good for you? Great. Take it to the next level if you want to keep going. Look up Android app architecture, excuse me, and look up how to implement each level of the MVVM architecture, or any architecture, whichever one. I would suggest this to MVVM, which is a model view model, only because it's the most popular one I've seen. Look at MVVM architecture, study it, learn how it works, implement the technologies in it into your first project, or come with a new one. Do this 3 times. Now you're at the senior level understanding. Now you can go and start applying for these junior roles. And while you're doing it, don't think that you should stop at 3 projects either. You need to keep going, keep learning. You know, keep up with any Android news, any changes, and apply it. I mean, you know what to do. You're already on this channel, so you've already taken the first step. So I'm confident you guys can do the rest as well. With all that being said, thank you all again for checking out the Coding Fanatic YouTube channel. You guys can join the mailing list over at codingfanatic.com. I'm still going to keep making my new you letter where I give you guys tips on how to stay productive throughout the week and talk about things that I've learned from my own week, from my time working on projects and trying to stay productive and things like that. Little lessons I learned here and there. I send out a newsletter every week. It costs nothing for you to join the mailing list. So if you're interested in that, you want to learn about how I go through my weeks and things like that, check it out. If you want to see more Android development stuff, check out the playlists here on the channel. Check out the content I have here and any attached content or other people I shout out on here. Yeah, it's been a heck of a journey. I don't know if I'm going to do these live streams again anytime soon. If I do, it'll probably be for whatever certification I go for next. So consider this the end of the Android content for now. But the next stuff that I come out with, if I do, will likely be IT related. So if you're into that, then stay tuned. With all that being said, yeah, you guys can follow me on social media in the descriptions below. Thank you all again for tuning in. This is Richard Clark signing out, and I will see you all when I see you. Peace. Nailed it.